All right, and here we are on podcast number 3. I can hardly believe it, but yes, it's true. 3 podcasts have now been released, and I'm really excited. Thank you guys for all your support. Thank you for listening, telling friends about it, downloading the episodes, liking us on Facebook. This has all been great. And I'm just thrilled to be able to be a part of it, and I hope you guys are really appreciating and enjoying these interviews as we go along. I will also want to let you know that we've already scheduled our next guest. I'll be recording that actually next weekend, so I'm excited to present another interview even after this one. So everything's going well, and I'm thrilled about it. So this is actually now going to be part 3 of my interview with Justin. So where we left off last time, Justin had talked about he was actually heading over to Iraq for a time, and where we left off was the plane was actually almost about to land. So I do want to remind you that Justin sometimes does use strong language, so be aware of that, especially when he starts talking about this gentleman that he knew when he was in the Air Force. So be aware of that. You might not want to listen to it around the kids, but maybe put some earbuds in and listen to it in private. But don't let that dissuade you. I beg of you. Please just try to look over that and listen to the story. Once again, just try to listen to the man who is Justin.
And when we were flying into Iraq, I remember I was sitting on the side. I didn't have my seatbelt on because we were just kind of just hanging out, and we knew we were still flying until we heard what was going to be going on. Mm-hmm. The captain comes over Mike, and he basically says, "All right, prepare for combat landing." So they're called combat landings because they don't want to take a normal approach, because that means that your aircraft is kind of just floating along the line where they can just shoot at you the entire time before you land. So basically, combat landing is where you start off really high and you just drop into like a specific point, and then you kind of just turn in to land.
Oh, wow.
And I remember I wasn't strapped in, and he started the combat landing, and I like flew out of my seat, and I'm like holding on to my seat as we're now diving down towards the ground. And then it's, as fast as it happened, it was over. Like, it was down maybe a handful of seconds, and we leveled, and we were on the ground. It was like, boom. From the time we said combat landing, I'm going to say less than 2 minutes, we were coming to a stop, down there. So that was my first memory, when I got to Iraq was, holy crap, I'm like, gonna fucking fall out of this plane or some shit like that. And the second thing was the second we got off the plane, the environment that you're in is a concrete jungle. Big, huge concrete slabs surrounded everything. Every single building that was at the base had these 16-foot, 2-foot thick concrete slabs surrounding every single one of them.
And these are here to...
If a rocket or a grenade or something were to get shot through, it would shield the building itself and just hit barriers.
If you can recall, what are your first thoughts when you step off the plane and you're seeing Iraq and you're seeing all this city, let's call it, that you're going to be stationed in? What are you thinking?
A little adrenaline rush. You're in Iraq, you're at war, you think that shit's going to be shooting at you the second you jump off that plane. Uh-huh. So you kind of get that, you're very angst type, you're ready to jump at any given moment. So I did feel that when I was on the outside until we actually got into the building, which was then barricaded by the concrete barriers like that for our debriefing type thing. But it was very an angst type moment. I wasn't like scared or anything like that, but you were cautious in what you did.
And how long were you there?
Let's see. So I got there in September, October, November, December, January, February, 6 months.
Okay. And you were just doing the same kind of things while you're in Iraq that you had been doing in Idaho?
I've been in Germany, actually.
I'm sorry. Okay, yeah.
I had 2 different jobs. Like, one is a flight line crew chief where you're actually out there launching and recovering jets as they go do their missions. And when I was in Germany, I went to this thing called phase inspection. And what we did is when jets actually came back into the hangar, and we took the jets completely apart and did like super in-depth inspections and then put them back together. That's what I did when I was in Iraq. The jets came into us, and we had them for 5 days. and we completely tore them down and we built them right back up.
Purpose being?
You have these things called time compliance, or TCTOs, time compliance tech orders. So there are certain components on the aircraft that need to be inspected at certain frequencies. Mm-hmm. So like this thing called ADG, accessory drive gearbox, has a time change of things like 2,000 or 3,000 hours of operation, and it needs to be taken down, and an inspection needs to be done and brought back up. So when those big maintenance things come and those milestones of hours or whatnot come on different components, it was our job to take them all apart, do the inspections on them, and put it back together.
Okay. So total time, I'm going to jump a little bit here, but total time in armed services from basic training to Iraq and afterwards, how long are you part of the United States Air Force?
7 years.
Okay. So in that 7 years, you go through a marriage and a divorce. You're in at least Idaho, Germany, in Iraq. Any place else?
Visited other places like that, but I wasn't
a long-term station.
Yeah.
Nothing. Okay. Mm-hmm. So what happens? So you said 7 years. So a lot of guys go in there and they never come out, or they just go in there until they retire. They become career. So what leads you not to go down that path?
Two things. One, my very first supervisor in the Air Force was a complete and utter shithole.
Okay.
He had told me at one point, this is when I was stationed in Idaho, that it was his job to get me kicked out of his Air Force. One of those types of people.
Why was he like this towards you?
He was an asshole. And there's nothing I could say otherwise other than this guy, Sergeant, I'm not going to say his name,
is
an asshole. And he had shit coming to him because he ended up getting cancer and he had lost one of his balls because of this. So I said that's karma. Mm-hmm. But he much of an asshole as he was, he lost one of his nuts.
Okay. So that's one reason you got out?
That was one reason why I didn't do a lifetime thing. I mean, I went into the military with 100% intentions of being a lifer.
Yeah.
100% intentions. I never thought I'd get out of the Air Force. But my job was just demanding. Now, easy for me to say this, like when you talk about like Navy SEALs and Rangers like that, their jobs are really physically demanding and emotionally demanding. So not demanding in that sense, but like for an Air Force job, think of people in other services call Air Force chair force, because a lot of Air Force jobs you are just a desk pusher, a pencil pusher that sits back and works on a computer.
Yeah.
There's only so many jobs in the Air Force that are, I'll call them legitimate, like combat or mission type of jobs, and I was a part of one of the mission ones, which is you're getting jets up and running and armed so they can drop bombs on bad guys' heads. That was my job. I wasn't doing finance and making sure your credit cards were paid. I wasn't inflating basketballs over at the gym. I wasn't scooping up mashed potatoes inside of the chow hall. I was doing stuff that directly affected the war effort. And the problem with that career field that I was in was we were always working. So our schedule would shift to the flying schedule. So if they decided they wanted to fly in the middle of the night, our shift rotated to accommodate that. We're always outdoors. So if it is in the middle of winter and you got 10 feet of snow, you're out there shoveling in front of your aircraft, clearing snow off of your jet. On the flip side of that, if it's 120 degrees out there, you're out there, getting your jet ready, covering it up so things aren't melting and stuff like that. Normal work day is, 10, 11 hours. When we were doing exercises or war-ready things, your normal work day is 14 to 16 hours. And we were one of the most deployed AFSCs in the Air Force. We're always on the go because you need Air Force's airplanes. You need fighter jets to accompany heavies. You need fighter jets to escort things. You need fighter jets to bomb shit. We're the ones that maintain those fighter jets. And one of my favorite terms, ever when it comes to a mechanic and a crew chief is that it takes it takes a college degree to break them and a high school diploma to fix them. Because, to be enlisted, all you need to do is graduate high school. To fly, you need to be an officer. And to be an officer, you need to have a 4-year degree, or a bachelor's degree. So these graduates of college were flying and breaking them, and us grunts, if you will, who only had high school diplomas, were the ones responsible for fixing the planes that they fly. So that was actually something that was really interesting to think about that.
Yeah.
That, if it wasn't for these high school graduates, these planes never would have gotten up in the air.
That's nuts.
So.
But how does that guy, that sergeant or whatever you say was, how does he affect your decision to stay or go?
He just put a bad taste in my mouth.
But how long ago had that been? I mean, because it sounds to me like you met him and then later on you went to Korea and so what was it about him that?
So it was the collection, right? So it was the long hours, the heat, the cold, the constant deployments, all those kinds of like that. And it was the, supervision in the military is, to me, it's black and white. You either have someone who is a great supervisor who takes pride in molding their subordinates and their troops to be exceptional airmen, exceptional crew chiefs, exceptional human beings, and you have shithole supervisors who don't give a crap about anything but themselves. And I had a shithole one, and I only had one other good supervisor when I was in the military. So I lost a lot of confidence and leadership in the military because of that. Because the problem with the military and the Air Force is that to get rank, for Air Force to get rank, you have to test. You have to take a written test. Okay, that's how you got rank in the Air Force. And you have people who are book smart. They can read this stuff and know it and test and make rank. But they're just dumb idiots themselves. They're dumb people. They lack common sense or they have no skills. Like, I mean, as a crew chief, if you want to look at me and evaluate if I should get promoted, you should be able to look at my work. Hey, I can take this entire landing gear off. I can pull up this hydraulic pump. I can pull up this ISA. This engine, I can pull an engine out, inspect it, and throw it right back in. That's how you should grade me. Not, how many inches above your shoulder should your chevrons be? Or at what degree, when you go a 90-degree angle, what degree should your chevrons be tilted? Or what Air Force code is responsible for dress and appearance? AFI 362903 is the actual dress and appearance. But that shouldn't be the reason why you get promoted. And a lot of people in the Air Force get promoted because they're smart, not because they're good at what they do. And that was a big thing for me. It was just a lot of tools. Like people that you just think slipped the crack and you don't know how they did it.
So 7 years. And you made a decision to get out. And you did what?
Well, there's another half to that decision. I had met my current wife when I lived in Germany, online. I met her online.
How so online?
Playing my War Pig game.
What is that?
World of Warcraft.
Okay.
So I was playing World of Warcraft, a game online where I had met this person. And I ended up gaming with them for a while. And then I ended up talking to them more inside of there. And then I ended up asking to talk to that person outside of the game. So I started talking to my current wife outside of the game on the phone, sent a couple emails, pictures back and forth here and there. Tried to get her to come out to Germany. I was like, I'll pay for you to fly out to Germany. She wasn't having it. So I was like, okay, I'll fly back. And she lived in Cleveland, Ohio. I was like, I'll fly back to meet you then. So,
how gun shy were you how long? I mean, this is probably a year or two after the divorce, I'm presuming.
My divorce was finalized October 31st, 2006.
Okay.
And at this time, it's probably 2007.
Okay.
Maybe about a year after the divorce. So, I wasn't gonna shy. How old was I at that time? 23, 24. I'm invincible.
Okay.
Nothing phases me, right? I'm in the military. I'm single now. I'm in the prime, if you will. Nothing phases me. So I was like, fine, I'll fly out there. I don't give a shit. You know, at least I'm gonna get laid on there maybe, and then fly back to Germany. So that's what it was. So
that was how the thought was.
I flew out.
But was there something different about this relationship?
Yeah, I mean, so we had a whole lot in common. The fact that we were a big gamer. I was a hardcore gamer. Like, I mean, it was like a part-time job for me. I probably spent more than 20 hours a week playing my game, and she probably spent almost the exact same amount of time gaming as well. So that was a real good common interest for us right there.
Yeah.
interesting that she lived in Ohio, being where my mom is from, which I also have a bunch of my family who lived in Ohio as well. So, it was easy when we were just talking. It was just, the early stages of any type of relationship is all lovey-dovey and everything is all perfect in life. So it was the emotional connection was there. It was, we need to identify if there's a physical connection there. Mm-hmm. Because if there ain't no physical connection, then ain't no sense of us, being together and anything like that. So the natural progression was, well, let's see each other.
And so this is after pictures have been exchanged. Mm-hmm. And so you see her for the first time.
I remember coming down the escalator at the Cleveland airport, and she's standing in these these like high black heels with dress shorts on, like dress shorts, black dress shorts, and a button-down black top, short sleeve. She had a sleeve, like a tattoo sleeve, long jet black hair, big titties. And I remember when I got it, I was like, fuck, she's hot. And it was a very nerve-wracking moment because we had talked on the phone for months and months and months, and this was the first time we're ever seeing each other. So it was like, do I hug you? Do I kiss you? So when I came down, she was already smiling. I was smiling. So and we kissed from there, and then never looked back from that first time coming down Cleveland Hopkins Airport escalator.
Did she, so you stayed there in Cleveland for a little while?
I was in Cleveland for about 4 or 5 days.
Okay, and then flew back to Germany.
Yeah.
Did she ever come and visit you in Germany?
No. I shortly after that, I got stationed back in Arizona. So then I was at least stateside.
Yeah.
So then she visited me a couple times when I was in Arizona.
Okay. All right. And how long after that then did you actually get married?
We got married December 15th, 2008. Okay. So we were probably together for like 7-8 months before we got married. So you were together 7 or 8 months and then you get married. Mm-hmm. So less than a year. Mm-hmm. Anybody give you some advice against that? Anybody say, hey, this might not be a great idea? Well, everybody did. And the biggest reason why is because of the age difference between her and I.
That was the big reason, not because of the speed with which you're moving.
Nah, nobody cared about that.
It was the age difference. May I ask what the age difference is?
No, you may not.
Okay. That's a good answer. And see, I can tell now I saw her walk her earlier, so no, I'm kidding. Now there's a lot more we could talk about. We've been going now almost an hour and 18 minutes. And there's a lot of other things I want to talk to you about, but maybe we'll do that at a different session.
Okay.
But my question for you, this will be my closing question for you is, you're how old now? 30. If we could somehow find a way to go back and you could talk to 17, I'm going to say 17-year-old Justin, what would you tell 17-year-old Justin at this point in time?
Is this pre-football season 17-year-old Justin, or is this post-football season? It's a legitimate question for me. If you say pre, it could change the entire outlook of everything.
Okay.
If you say post, we'll stick with post. I like where I'm at, so I love my wife. I love all the experience that I had and what I did from that moment until now. The greediness of me right now, because I so badly wanted that experience, I might have tried to convince the 17-year-old to go into the Army or something. Or based off of some of our previous movies that we've seen, maybe even something more hardcore than that. My level of patriotism is probably more at this exact moment in my life than when I was even in the military.
How high is it right now?
I am trying to convince my wife to let me go back into the military right now. This is a real conversation that her and I have had, or have been continuously having for some time, of me trying to convince her to let me go back into the military.
At what capacity?
the capacity that I would want, legitimate active duty, not even Air Force. The
Active Air Force.
Not even Air Force. I'm talking I truly inspired by American Sniper, truly inspired by Lone Survivor. Do I think I have what it would take to be a Navy SEAL? I don't know. I think I have the mental capacity for it. Definitely not the physical capacity for it right now. In a perfect world.
Because you have too much capacity?
Yeah, too much capacity. So it would limit that. But if I could, without repercussions of anything and not worrying about my wife or anything like that, I would 100% go into some type of special force. It is a real drive and passion for me right now for some, I don't know what, it could be just inspiration from these movies that I'm feeding off of, something so new, but it is a real thing inside of me right now. But the capacity in which I think I would be able to do would be like National Guard. Air National Guard, part-time, still part of the armed forces. Look at the thing that I love about the military was less than 1% of the U.S. population serves in the military. Less than 1%.
So let me ask you, then that leads me to another question. So let me ask you this. So you had the opportunity to talk to a 17 or 18-year-old kid, boy or girl. What do you tell them? What advice do you give them in regards to the armed services?
I give them bad advice. Here's what I say bad. People talk about joining the armed forces, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, whatever it may be. Oh, because the benefits are good, the school benefits, they're taken care of. For me, at my point in life right now, I look at someone and say, I tell them, you don't join the military because you want to get free school. You don't join the military because you want to have a roof over your head. You join the military because you believe in what the military is, you believe in what the military stands for, you believe in what the United States stands for. So I'm all this patriotic thing right now. You can't go into the military and be willing to be able to make those types of sacrifices. Not even talking about giving up your life, but making those sacrifices of being away from friends and family, or not seeing them for years, or whatever it may be. If you're not willing to look at that and be like, you're excited about what you're about to do, then don't even join. I don't care about you want to go to college? Cool, go to college. Don't come in the Air Force because you want to go to college, though. You come in here because this is something that you believe in, not something that is a stepping stone. I don't like these. I only serve 4 years and I get out.
What do you when the person asks you, well, why should I do it? I understand now your reason for the reasons I should have for doing it, but what benefit is there to me to do it? Or does that question right there automatically annoy you?
It does, because then that means that they're looking for something in return, and that's not what those who die and stuff when they go in the military, those that go to war, they're not asking for anything in return when that dude jumps on that IED or something like that to protect his friend, his brothers. They're not asking for anything in return. So if you have to tell me what benefits me, you're already not the type of person that I want inside of there, because the type of people you want in there are the selfless people that I don't care if I get nothing out of this, if there's nothing more that I can give to you. That's how I feel about it right now.
Do you think that every American citizen should serve?
In a certain capacity. Because I don't believe that these hipster idiots need to be in the armed forces. These tree-hugging bitches and shit like that. Peace is good, all this kind of shit. Peace is good. I'm not a war junkie.
Yes.
But
what do they understand?
They don't understand the sacrifices it takes for them to have the bullshit type of life that they have. You hear in the news all the time, people that criticize the military. Those that criticize the military are those who've never served in the military. You might find a handful here and there, but the biggest critics of the military are those who've never served.
Have you personally encountered those type of people?
I make it very clear when I talk to people and our friends about the military that I'm extremely pro-military. So if you have your things, you and I might butt heads. And I like, as my personality, I won't let down from what I believe. And I'm a little I'll punch you in your throat if you say the wrong thing to me type of shit. So, it's a respect thing. You know, if you're going to you can hate what the Air Force, or not, what the military, or what our government, our country has done or have forced our service members to do. Because all we're doing is listening to our commander-in-chief. You can be mad at the decisions that are made for that, but fuck you if you're going to judge the soldier himself, because they do nothing but sacrifice. Majority of them do nothing but sacrifice for you. There are some obviously douchebags in the military that just give us bad names, but other than that.
Well, it's been like an hour, almost an hour and a half. So I'm going to let you stop for now. Was this as painful as you thought it was going to be?
I was hoping that I could tell you why I believe there shouldn't be a woman president, but we can save that one.
We'll say that, yeah, for Justin 2.0.
Cool.
All right. Well, thank you for being honest and forthright, and just being willing to share. So I appreciate it.
Thank you for not forcing me to throw punch you.
Yeah, I appreciate that too. So there we have the completed interview with my friend Justin. By the way, he's joking, I think, about the issue of a woman being president. That was actually a reference to a Jiminy Glick, Martin Short interview that we had watched together. But big thanks to Justin for sitting down with me for that time. Guys, please continue to like these on Facebook, if you will. Be sure and talk to your friends and family about it, and add a comment or let me know through email how you appreciate the show. Hey, thanks for listening once again.